Good evening, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order for Wednesday, July 15th, 2026 for the Town of Hollis Select Board meeting. We will do a call to order starting from my right.
Dan Urumian.
Jack Regala.
Mike Harnois.
Roger Hicks.
Danielle Bradbury.
Dick Moran.
And now we will stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, everybody. So first, number 3 is the resignation of the chair and election of a new chair. So I just have a quick thing to kind of just read out for you. Bear with me. So before we proceed tonight, I just want to address the board and the public. I am tonight stepping down as chair of the Hollis Select Board, effective upon the election of my successor. I will continue to gladly serve out the rest of my term as a member of this board. For me, the role of the chair is to facilitate the board's work, to build agendas, to run orderly meetings, and to help the body carry out its vision for Hollis. And in June, the voters of Hollis made their voices heard and elected a new majority for this board. And they chose a different direction for our town, and I respect that choice. But the majority's vision for our town differs from mine in important ways, and I believe that the chair should be someone who shares the direction of this board in the way that it's heading. I think the way this should be, the group should be led, it should be a group, sorry, let me try this thing. It should be led by a group who will set it, the direction of the board, and they should be accountable to the public for where it takes us. The residents of Hollis deserve to see clearly who is setting the direction of this town. I'll continue to work for them and to advocate for what I believe serves this community as a member of the board. And I now open the floor for nominations for chair.
What direction are you thinking that we're going in?
I nominate. Do you have a nomination for chair?
I'm trying to understand what you're referring to here in a direction. You don't want to elaborate? You don't have to. I'm just curious.
I'd also like to know, because I'm the only new one here.
Sure. Yeah. We can certainly discuss it. I'm opening up nominations for chair. Our conversation, we can have a conversation after if you'd like, but it's not going to change any decision here. So we need a new chair.
Okay. So, first of all, we have to accept your resignation.
You're a detailed guy.
I'm a very detailed guy. And if this is the way you feel, Mike, I'll support your wishes and motion that you can resign as chair.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Well,
Are you sure that I have to?
Is it?
Okay.
I just don't want to be chair, so I guess yes. I don't know what I'm doing,
All right.
so.
Aye.
I'll make a motion the chair be Roger.
Second.
Get this moving.
Okay. So I have a nomination for Roger to be chair. Do I have any other nominations? Hearing none, nominations are closed. All in favor of electing Roger Hicks as chair. Say aye.
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 All opposed? All right.
Abstain.
Okay, so Roger has been elected the new chair of the Hollis Select Board. What I'm going to do now is actually my last act as chair. I'm going to just suspend the meeting, just take a quick recess for 2 minutes while we kind of reconfigure here, and then we'll come back online. Sound good?
Good.
Thank you.
We'll take 2 seconds. We're almost there. All right. Moving on. Public comment for items not on the agenda.
Good evening. I don't have much to say on what just happened. A little uncomfortable, but I'm going to switch gears. I came tonight because I wanted to help honor and celebrate the 250 years of America's creation. And I did research the Hollis Revolutionary War soldiers. I started that in January. I came to Town Hall and asked them who were the Revolutionary soldiers, and I got a list of 8 soldiers. And I went to the Historic Society and I asked the same question, and the only list we had was from the Hollis Bicentennial book. So I said, I don't think that's right. I think we had a lot of people here and a lot more soldiers. So I dug my heels in and I started to read through our history books, the history of Hollis, early families of Hollis and Dayton, Saco Valley settlements and families, and I do a lot of work on Find a Grave. So I also spend some time at the Historical Society researching what they have there. So I did a lot of work since the beginning of the year in collaboration with Debbie Curry of Maine Old Cemetery Association, and they have a special section that they dedicate towards Revolutionary War soldiers, and since the year 200, the bicentennial, they've been starting a list and getting full details about their service, about where they're buried, those kinds of things. So they were very grateful that I was digging in my heels in Hollis, because all they had was, you know, just like a dozen of the soldiers. So she provided information, including these men's pensions information, their files. There was one file that had 77 pages on it. She did research through Ancestry.com. She did deed research where she found ancient cemeteries on a property, and that was very helpful, and other sources. So it took these months' work, and the difficulty was knowing that Hollis was not Hollis. Hollis was Little Falls. Hollis was Little Falls until 1798, so it was in the midst of all these changes that were going on. And it became Phillipsburg. So when you're looking up files, you're not looking for Hollis all the time. You're looking up other names. And Hollis did not become Hollis until 1811. So it was long after the Revolutionary War was done. So the other difficulty was that I got a lot of Hollis names, but they were soldiers from Dayton. So I have a list I want to present to the town. It's from the work that I completed with all these people. And this list includes Revolutionary War soldiers of Hollis who were born or who lived or died or were buried in Hollis. And the list is enumerated to 30 soldiers. And besides that, it includes 12 soldiers from Dayton. So the total list is 45 soldiers, and I have the list to present to the town tonight. I was hoping to do it by July 4th, but I missed a beat a little bit, making sure things were more accurate. So this is for the town, and I hope that the townspeople do remember our Revolutionary War soldiers. There's some great heartfelt stories of them walking from Hollis to sign up in Biddeford. Then they marched down to Cambridge, they marched to White Plains, New York, and then they went to war. And some of them were prisoners of war, and some of them, there's a couple that were George Washington's footmen. So great stories, not to be forgotten, and great year to celebrate. So this is for the town.
Butch?
Butch Gannett, resident of Hollis. I'm disturbed by the actions of the board tonight. Mike, you did a great job serving the board and serving the town. I congratulate you and thank you for the work you did. Roger, I'll support you every way that I can, but I'm still disappointed in the fact that you had somebody who had given enough thought to offer a resignation, and everybody sat there like a bump on a log, and nobody said anything until they were almost forced into it. I'd just like that to be on record. And you weren't very functional earlier on tonight. Thank you.
All right, any other public comments? Seeing none. Moving on to opening the paving bids. And these were the only, we had two. Okay. Taylor and Sons Paving LLC out of Minot, and we have Allstate Construction. Okay, Jack, do you want to do the honors on those?
Little.
I just wanted to inform the board and the public that my business has had a working relationship with Allstate Construction, and I will be recusing myself from all deliberations with this paving bid.
All right, Allstate Construction, Shaw Lane, Bean Street, Hanson Lane, Dayton Road, Stewart's Lane, Whitten Lane, Lisa Lane. Total $250,573.77. Taylor Paving. Same roads, 312,918.50.
Okay. So those are the two totals.
That
So what I'll ask is that we get with the road commissioner. Robbie, you have anything to say?
Yeah, no. I'll get together with the town manager next week and we'll go through the bids and make a determination.
You'll review the bid package, make sure they meet all bid
Yes.
specification, and then,
Yep, make a recommendation.
perfect. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. Moving on. Next order, old business. Reevaluation summary and next steps for the select board workshop with municipal assessing firm John O'Donnell and Associates. Mike, you want to do that?
Yeah, we just got done a fantastic meeting with John, and it will be available online, or if it's already available online, you can watch it. My plan, just so logistically, is to take it, the transcript, and summarize that transcript and get it out to the masses so they can read it, because it was about an hour and a half of discussion about pretty complicated subject. Not that John didn't do a fantastic job explaining it. But the general thesis that John kind of put out there is we need to act. We need to act we need to act now to get this going. The time has come, it's passed. We are in a place where we need to, honestly, right now, probably in this meeting, my suggestion, I think many people's suggestion would be to schedule a special meeting as soon as humanly possible to get a special town meeting to get a vote to, in essence, ask the question again, to appropriate the funds to do this reevaluation, a full boots on the ground reevaluation. We need to stop messing around and we need to move forward. That's my feeling. I don't know if you wanted me to summarize anything else, but that's pretty much what it was, Roger, to me.
Did you want to make a motion on the meeting?
Maybe any more discussion? I don't want to make a motion
Is
without
there
it.
any other discussion from the board on that?
No, it was great for him to come in. He was very informative. Every time I talk to that guy, I feel like I gain so much knowledge.
Yeah, guy's amazing.
Okay. So we'll move forward on our next select board meeting on setting, after people have a chance to absorb all the information that we got from John O'Donnell today.
Yeah, I think we want to make as much of an educational effort as possible between now and the next the special town meeting. I don't know if the board agrees to do it in the next meeting. It's technically, what, August 2nd, is it? First, August 5th? Okay, so actually that's a pretty good amount of time between now and then.
So August 5th, we'll move and discuss a special town meeting.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we hold a special town meeting on August 5th, 2026.
Do I have a second?
second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great.
Okay, moving on, minutes of 6/17/26.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Okay, moving on to the next item, Kids Bike Trail and Skills Course at Hollis Sports Complex, Nancy Ponzetti.
Good evening. Nancy Ponzetti, Hollis resident. You may wonder why I'm here. I watched the last two select board meetings from June 17th and July 1st. I'd like to commend Dan Yerumian for an outstanding PowerPoint presentation and a presentation regarding and I hope I get this right, bike pump track and single track mountain bike trail to be placed on land adjacent to the sports complex. What Dan was asking for was pretty much permission from the select board to be able to apply for a Main Trails grant, which would be approximately $150,000 with a 10% match. The due date for the grant is July 17th, just 2 days away. At the July 1st meeting, the select board voted no. Well, I did a little research. The Main Trails Program grant is a $30 million dedicated grant to expanding bike trails and bike pump tracks throughout the state of Maine. The grant awards will go out to the year 2034, and the round 3 of grant applications has already been announced with a due date for mid-June of 2027. There will be approximately 8 $250,000 grants awarded. 4 of those 8 will be for multi-purpose bike trails. Other grants will be capped at the $150,000. The town would be responsible, more or less, and the town's people for approximately $15,000 in matching value. This does not have to be money. It does not have to be a burden on the taxpayer. I would like you all to remember I too am a taxpayer and I don't like the burdens either. However, there are plenty of ways that we can come up with $15,000 between now and next June in either cash, material, equipment, or volunteer hours. I listened carefully to the 2 select board meetings, and one of the most major concerns was the impact on the land that's the town forest. I listened to the June 17th meeting when Terry Walters, who's extremely knowledgeable about forest, came up and discussed the red and white pine stands. This grant will have absolutely no impact on how the town manages or harvests that forest. And I would like to repeat and emphasize that. This grant will have no impact on how the town uses or manages that forest. Because I like to get confirmation before I start spouting off, I sent an email request to Adam C. Fisher, who is the head of the Main Trails program for the state of Maine. And I wrote him, I am working with the town of Hollis members to develop a bike skills area. The forest was planted in approximately the late 1940s and is harvested for the benefit of the town. Would a bike trail through the woods have any impact on the town's ability to manage and harvest the forest? Mr. Fisher immediately wrote back, thank you for reaching out with your question. An MTP grant does come with some project longevity requirements. In this case, the trail would need to be usable for 7 years after construction completion. But the grant itself does not restrict the town from managing or harvesting the forest at all. The town would still have control of the trails. For example, during mud season, we could close the trail. When, of course, the timber was harvested, we would close the trail. If there was any kind of disease, and Mr. Walters did mention red pine scale that he saw in another woodlot here in Hollis, then the town could close the trail and the trees could be managed. Now, the source of the matches. Well, we could have pledges or donations. I'm hoping maybe the small businesses here in town might like to help toward this, and even if they pledged $25, $10, $50, whatever, it could be a benefit to their businesses. Materials. Dan mentioned that there's a pile of loam, I think it is, somewhere here on the property. Well, the value of that can be used toward the $15,000. Grant writers can charge up to $75 an hour for their grant writing abilities. I'm not the greatest grant writer in the world, but I have gotten $65,000 in grants over the last year. I would be happy to help Dan in the future with this, and so my $75 an hour would be contributed toward the $15,000. Volunteer hours. A volunteer today who would volunteer to work on this trail, whether maintaining, constructing, or just taking care of business, gets $36.14 an hour. Using the FEMA scale, equipment use, just to give you an example of 3, for every ATV that might be used to drag brush out of the woods or just to lay out a trail, the average is $21 an hour. The chainsaw averages $7 an hour. And I bet there's a lot of chainsaws in the town of Hollis. And the use of a tractor is $250 an hour. With volunteers, that's a lot of the $15,000 that's already taken care of. And then, of course, there are grants. Another question of concern was future maintenance. What's going to happen in the future for the 7 years that the trail has to be there? Well, the Maine Mountain Bike Trail Fund gives grants of $10,000 annually specifically for established trail maintenance. The application is a piece of cake compared to some of the things I've done. It's all done online. There are no deadlines. It's rolling application. And the $10,000 check is awarded to the town or the organization that funds the trail at the end of every month. The East Grand Lake ATV Club, which is in Danforth, Maine, and which has got a population of about 500 people, gets $10,000 for their ATV trail maintenance every single year. Then there's something called the Maine Trails Coalition that provide for free services of trail contractors, ambassador volunteers who help with grant writing processes. They have a liaison with the Bureau of Parks and Lands. And the biggest thing is they have working group volunteers who go to these towns to work on mountain bike trails. And then here in New England, we have the New England Mountain Bike Association, which for the last 36 years has been in existence. They are a registered 501c3 nonprofit group and therefore can also apply for other grants. They have over 10,000 members, maintain 184 trails, maintain 16,271 miles of trails, and last year alone accumulated 5,728 volunteer hours. Times $36 an hour, do the math. Another concern was liability and security. Well, for the town, liability and security would be the same as it is for the existing ATV and snowmobile trails. At our June election, 2 articles were put on the warrant to support both maintenance for ATV and snowmobile trails. And the full amount of what the town gets in registration for those vehicles the full amount of the percentage that's allowed, goes to the clubs to maintain the trails. At $75 to register one ATV, and the ATV club gets a good percentage of that per ATV, look at how much the town is already spending to maintain ATV and snowmobile trails. For security, Dan mentioned signage, the use of game wardens, as we would use for any forest, security trail cameras, and bikers themselves being self-policing, as the ATV club is and the snowmobile club is. And why did I bring up this warrant, or bring up this issue again? After 2 select board meetings, the first one where nobody seconded Dan's motion, and then last week when it was voted down 3-2. Bike trails and pump trails are proven economic developers. You ride your bike, you're thirsty at the end of it, you're hungry. Hopefully Tom Witowski's pizza truck is nearby, or his ice cream truck. We're promoting small business. Or I really want ice cream and Tom's not available, I go to Big Daddy's, a local business. I go to Nuria, to the gas station, and fill up my car or my truck that's brought my bike to the trail. Or I use the Dunkin' Donuts and I get a cup of coffee. One of the issues that we will be discussing in the future, or that has already been discussed, is TIF money for economic development for this town. And people have responded. They don't want big box stores, they don't want industrial parks, they don't want business parks. This would help promote our small businesses. Families, gives them an activity to do, an inexpensive activity. There are, by the way, grants where you could get free mountain bikes for people who might not be able to afford a family of 4 or 5 bikes. But our kids, I have 2 grandchildren who are the lights of my life. One will be 9 on August 1st. The other is 7. One of the things they love to do is ride their bike. This town has no sidewalks, no bike lanes, nothing for them. They get to ride their bikes in the driveway and on the dead-end cul-de-sac where they live. When my daughter was younger, she and her friends would get on their bikes. They would ride down 112 Woodman Road. They'd go all the way down to the Wayway store and back. This was before Poland Spring and the trucks and the traffic. We want our kids to ride a pedal bike on an ATV trail on a weekend? I'm sorry, but when it comes to either the kids or your money, you know which one I'm going to take first every time. And then support from the public or the select board. Danielle, you yourself said on the July 1st meeting that you would be more than comfortable putting this question on the warrant in November so that voters could decide. Jack, you've said for years, let voters decide. Social media Facebook post, and this is a direct quote from one of my favorite posters. Personally feel this isn't a select board's decision, but possibly a town vote in November. And that's a direct quote posted on July 7th. Therefore, in conclusion, what I am asking the select board to do this evening is to commit to put a question on this November's warrant, not only allowing Dan, myself, and anyone else who'd like to do it, to pursue the round 3 grant for $150,000, but let the voters decide if they want these bike trails or not. I thank you for your time and your attention, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
Nancy, do you agree? Do you think it should be something that should be left to the voters? Or do you think it's something, considering that it we've pretty much committed that it's not going to be taxes. Do you think it's something that we could maybe get done potentially after that very persuasive speech tonight, or maybe even at the special town meeting next meeting? Is there a reason to wait till November if we're going to?
Personally, and I'll say that, personally, if it was up to me, no. I would like to have a revote of what you did on July 1st when Dan made the motion about pursuing the grant. Obviously, it's too late where it's due in only 2 days. And there are a lot of facts and figures that would have to go into it. And just say, yeah, let's do this. Let's do this. And then let the select board, with me and other people who feel like me, work toward getting that $15,000 in some other way. On the other hand, I respect the opinion of the voters. I'm sure somebody out there might not want a bike trail through the forest. Either way, I'd like to see it done. And if it does go on the warrant, I'll tell you, I'll be one of the first ones in the front ranks trying to educate people and get it passed.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Nancy, that was an excellent presentation. Is there time, the deadline is the 16th or 17th? Is there time to put an application together before then?
No.
No time now, okay. Thank you.
I'd like to also make a comment on this issue. I was very disappointed to know that Dan has worked so hard on putting together this proposal, and there's money to be had to have the kids enjoy a place to ride within our towns. For one thing, we don't have places to ride. As Nancy mentioned, I am a big bike rider, and today I went to Sanford and I enjoyed their rail trails. And, you know, this town has never done anything to try to promote bigger things. Like, we had a great rail trail. When I first moved to the area, we were snowmobiling all over the rail trails, and all the rail trails are disappearing in our area now. So that's a lost thing for us. And then I look at Indian Cellar property, and I saw the houses that were ready to be built, and there were some good people who stepped up and said, let's do what we can to preserve this land. And they stepped up, and there was an associated cost. It went to Future for Maine's Future, Land for Maine's Future program, and the town had to come up with, I think, $75,000. Yeah, it went to the voters. The voters did everything from fundraising to donations to everything. It happened, and now look at the beautiful thing we have. Now, Dan's worked so hard to try to make an improvement and a useful place for people to bike ride, for kids to have an outlet for their, for their health. We're supporting health on this. And to knock it right down and say the no vote was like a slap in the face to all the people who want to enjoy Hollis, who want to get out and take part in the recreation on our land already. I didn't understand it. I'd like to see a revote, make this thing move forward however it needs to. I know there's a time crunch, and I was very sorry that happened at the last meeting. And I think before voting again like that in the future, I think you need to get in touch with your constituents and say, do you think this was a good idea, and how would you suggest I vote? Ask your people, because I think all the people I ask, they're like, yeah, that's a no-brainer, so ask your people, contact the people you're standing up for, because, Dan's been doing this project for a while. It wasn't the first day, and we were all behind him, and all of a sudden, where did this no vote come from? So thank you for the facts. Thanks for the work and effort. Please revote. Please, let's move this forward so we don't lose it, so it doesn't become like all the rail trails out there. Oh, we can't bike on them anymore. That would have been perfect 40 years ago, but we can fix this. Thank you.
Thank you, Rita.
Joe Ponzetti. I don't really see a reason to wait to November. Nancy brought great clarity, I think, to the questions that were asked. I understand that there was some gaps that needed to be filled. Dan did a wonderful presentation, but there was a lot of information to be given out over those last two meetings. Nancy took the time to research it. She addressed your questions. I would like to see you revisit that motion now and vote on it again as Nancy purported. Let her read that question. You can put it in the form of the motion. You can vote on it. If you vote no, it's going to go to referendum one way or another. It will go out in the warrant. So if you don't mind, I'll have Nancy read that one more time, and you can revisit it as a motion, totally up to you. Thank you.
Okay, Joe. So on the very first one, if memory serves me correct, my first comment was tying up 56 acres of town assets. That's why I voted no. We're tying up town assets for 7 years. We cannot touch it. The only thing we can do is logging and trail maintenance, but if we want to do anything else with that property, we can't for 7 years. And that's why I voted no.
What else would you do with it?
We're
If you're
looking,
going to go into discussion, please put it in the form of a motion. And don't forget, those restrictions run with the property. So if you think you're going to sell it, those restrictions on logging run with the property. But if you're going to ask questions or you're going to discuss it, please put it in the form of a motion.
yeah, but that was my other point. I said, in explaining that, it should be a vote of the town. I'm not disagreeing with you on November.
I was, Brenda Gannett, I was very disappointed in your vote no on that. You know, you're doing for the ATV, the snowmobilers. What about the kids? The kids are the future of the town of Hollis. You see on Facebook that they got kids going down on Plains Road at 3 a.m. in the morning. Well, maybe they'd still be out there at 3 a.m., but they might be using that place. I'm very disappointed. So disappointed.
Any other discussion?
Discussion, we haven't made a motion. Do we need to make a motion?
Any other discussion from any other board
I like
member?
Joe's idea of having Nancy reread the question. I thought that was a good idea. Do you think that's a good idea?
Sure. Nancy, if you would, please.
I'd like to see it go to the voters because I'm not discrediting anybody that's talked to people that are in support of this, but everybody I've talked to doesn't support it. So personally, I would rather see it go on the ballot. Either way, I'm fine with it being decided by the voters.
Did they have any reason for wanting it?
Same reasons I had last time.
Which were?
There's concern about, are we actually gonna get volunteers to do it? Because usually a lot of, I can't speak for the bike path stuff because I've never been involved with it, but like the snowmobile club, it usually ends up being the same 5 to 10 guys doing everything. Same with other towns around because I've been involved with other towns. And it's like, well, what if you can't get it? And then it's the continued maintenance after the fact. Like once the grant's done, we've got it all built and kids come, or even adults come on there with ATVs, dirt bikes, and rip it up. Who's responsible to pay for it? And I know that Nancy said there was a grant for $10,000. What if it's more than that? You know what I mean? Or what if we don't get the grant? That's what their concerns were. So I'm fine with putting it on the ballot because I do think it's a nice idea. I really do. I just don't want to do something the taxpayers, majority don't want because it is taking on more money if we have to, if it gets ruined. And I'm just thinking about that practically. Because I mean, like we said, we've got kids messing around up at the sports complex now. So they're going to do it no matter what. That's my concern. So I would prefer it go on the ballot. And we just voted pickleball down. So that's another, it's the same idea.
Yeah, you put pickleball on twice.
Mm-hmm. I didn't. I wasn't here, but.
Well, I know you weren't. But the voters got to vote on pickleball.
And that's fine. I'm fine with voting on the bike track. I really am.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I quoted you from July 1st. As far as tying up the land, and I don't know, but Dan, may I ask a question? How many acres would the, not the bike pump track, but the trail through the woods be?
Like if you added up the whole path with.
Yeah, from where you
times
started to
length,
the end.
1 acre. 4
Okay.
feet wide,
thought-
almost a mile long.
I thought it ran from the fire station. You had it on the map with Chip. It ran down from the fire station down through.
That's the four-wheeler trail that's already there. There's already a four-wheeler and ATV trail that go through there. The bike trails is a loop through the woods between the sports complex and the discontinued portion of Bean Street. It doesn't go over towards the fire station at all.
So basically, you're talking 1 acre, excuse me, out of 59 that's over there. If you look at the property and you look at the Hollis zoning regs, I don't know what else you're going to do with the property, but harvest it. And those harvest rights, as Joe pointed out, do go with the sale of the land. That land has been there for how long? Town hasn't done anything with it yet, and we've been incorporated since 1798. We are going to worry about a few acres of land, and what if one day we need to sell it and tell our kids to ride their bikes on an ATV trail? Guys, get real. I'm sorry. And I promised Joe I wasn't going to lose my temper, but I am. We're talking about kids here. That sweet little girl of Mike's who came in here to sing for Mary. You want her on an ATV trail on a weekend? We're talking $15,000. What's the total budget of this town? Millions. And we already had, whether he was serious or not, a private pledge of $1,000 to get us started.
2.
Okay, 2. So now we only need 13. My God, I've raised more money for the Hollis Historical Society in like 6 months. And all I'm asking for is that you give permission tonight, if possible, for Dan and I and those people who want to help to try to find the ways to get $13,000. And if you don't, shame on all of you.
Phil Finnemore, Hollis resident. First of all, I want to say I'm only wearing sunglasses because I have an eye issue and the light is sensitive. So I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I just wanted to let you know that first and foremost. Land-wise, I believe what Nancy said and what Dan has said multiple times, which Nancy did provide some new information tonight, but I want to remind you all that most of what she said backed up the many things that Dan had answered in his multiple presentations. So we're hearing some of this for the third time, which I'll echo the frustration of some of the people that have already spoke about that. Like, you're still basing a decision on information that you're ignoring or already have or aren't fully understanding, which is frustrating. But the grant says that only the trail itself needs to be able to be accessed and used for that 7 years. So if there was anything else conditional that needed to be done for that land, then this extrapolated scenario, we could still do that as long as the trail stayed open. My understanding is that just the trail itself needs to be usable and accessible. There's no restriction except for that path through the woods. That's it. And where the pump track would be is right behind the playground. You're not going to put anything there anyway. Security-wise, I did mention last meeting or the meeting before that there are grants for enhanced security, and I was thinking about a valid point that Danielle brought up about people getting motorized vehicles onto that pump track. I think something that we could very easily do in building this is put posts or fencing or something up, and this could be part of what this grant goes towards so that only a human and a bicycle could get through an area to get onto that pump track. I think there's some pretty common sense ways as we think and talk about this and bring people together to talk about this to dispel and figure out a way to creatively and innovatively make this happen. You've got a room full of people here that all agree. So I completely appreciate what people are saying about putting it to a vote. I think that is the most necessary when we're actually asking for money. The only thing you would be voting on tonight is to okay the application for the grant for next time. And if between now and November or even the next warrant in June, we actually needed to physically ask for money, we would. If the grant doesn't get accepted, the project just doesn't get done. We're not committing to doing the project without the grant. All you're being asked to do is commit to apply for the grant so that we can try to make this happen with all of this collaborative thought, forward thinking, and innovation that's in this room tonight. Thanks.
So are we having another vote if this grant got approved then? Or is this just, because with my understanding that we were just improving everything in general? Like, if we approve tonight, we're approving, yes, you can have 15 grand. No. Okay,
What you're approving is that they're going to write the grant.
okay.
Right.
We're never voting on spending $15,000.
See, I didn't know that. I'm still new, so.
I'd like to make a motion, Mr. Chair, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion to allow for the application for a grant in the use of land adjacent to the sports complex for the creation of a kids pump track course and riding trails.
Second.
Okay, been motioned by Mike, seconded by Dan. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thinking
unanimous.
into this, I just want to mention this. This was always focused on this 59 acres, and it's gone down to only this 1 acre. And I know there's 3 of us that are being targeted here tonight, and that's all fine and well. I don't mind that at all. And excuse me for my raspy throat, because I gotta. But here I sit here, and I've been trying to get money
Oh, I feel like it.
to get that Veterans Memorial back up here. And I can't even accomplish that to finish this project up. So when you talk about concerns of different things, that's a main thing for me. And I'd like to be able to get that done for Rita Anderson. That's a key thing for her. And you're right, I always go to the people. Let the people make the decisions. That's all I have to say.
Okay, moving on.
I forgot to say my name before. It's Rita Bradbury. And Jack, thank you for saying that. Thank you for supporting the veterans. I did want to say with the contribution of the Revolutionary War soldiers that I'd like the board to consider a larger plaque that includes their names so that it's easy access for the townspeople to know who they were. And right up the alley with you, Jack, I think all of our veterans need to be acknowledged. And in a public place, it's kind of embarrassing when I go to other towns. Acton is a small town, and they have a giant board where all the names are for every war. So anyways, support you 110%, and I'll...
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'll add anything that can support that. Let me know.
Okay. Oh, hey, Becky.
Becky Bowley, I'm still up on Timber Lane. Jack, how much money do you need to get the Veterans Memorial completed?
For right now, it stands that we had the grant.
Don't back up.
Oh, yeah, I get carried away with that. I'm not, to get back to, I'm sorry. We had 10,000 from Poland Springs, and then we had Narragansett, which gave us another 10, but we're shy just around 12. The whole thing to get it done around that flagpole is about 32,000.
Okay, all right. So we need to, Nancy? Nancy is a great grant writer, and maybe we need to look to see if we can find some grant money or have a fundraiser to raise a $12,000. I totally agree. The Veterans Memorial should be put back up and taken care of. So maybe we can work on that. Together, we're going to accomplish a lot more. Thank you.
Why wasn't that part of the contract for this building? When they took that memorial out, why wasn't it part of the contract to put it back in?
Well, Butch, kind of.
Jack, I'm sorry, we're good friends.
I know.
And I'm not finding fault with you. I'm finding fault with why we don't have that thing back in. and those 2 benches that go with it.
I understand that, that's whole part of it, that was kind of, I'll be very honest, an oversight. That's exactly what it was. There's no other answer.
I'd be glad to help them get it relocated.
Well, we got it all laid out how it has to be done. It's just coming up with the money. That's all.
Is this something we could add to our special town meeting next week to try to raise some funds to get this pushed through?
Well, I was talking with Joe earlier to try and get another summit between the select board and the finance committee so we could discuss some of these issues we've got right now, especially on the financial piece of the town.
Back to Dan's question, though, can we put it on the spec?
Yeah, I mean, I've been on this board for a year and I didn't know that this was something that we were trying to work forward. I've driven past those benches sitting there on my way in and out every time, but I didn't know that there was some sort of holdup on getting those.
Well, that's what it is.
Yeah, because we got some money to work on the pond and some money to work on the monument, so.
That's the same thing with the pond. You know, try to get the lights up and everything so they can do their hockey playing or ice skating at night or have night events and everything else. We had 10 from Poland Springs on that, and there we are again. We're minus 20. So.
Is there no way we could, is there no place to appropriate these funds if we did a town vote?
Well, we'd have to put it on.
We have a vote next on August 5th, so we can pretty much do, it's up to the voter. So could we take money from some other place and get this done? We have the voters here to approve it or not approve it.
But also in the mix of things, when we do this, you have to include the finance committee also.
Right.
And I don't want to.
They can convene, right? They could probably convene in that amount of time.
Well,
I think it's another example of the continuous can kicking that we do in this town that we could probably do something here. It's pretty important. We talk about veterans all the time. We need to get this done, please. Sorry, it's not my meeting. Sorry.
Yeah.
So I happened to pick up a copy of the town report today.
Yeah.
Well done, whoever did it. Article 20 that we just voted on and passed said, shall the town vote to authorize the select board to appropriate up to $200,000 from undesignated fund balance as it deems necessary to fund and meet the unanticipated expenses and/or emergencies that may occur with the majority vote of the select board and the majority vote of the finance committee for each occurrence.
Correct.
So if we needed $12,000, it would have to be approved by the finance committee and the select board. And then it could happen.
And that's the step that I'm adding. We need to meet with the finance committee.
No.
I don't know.
Well,
Is it unanticipated?
It wasn't at the
Good
time,
point,
Mary, because we thought the grants we got when you were on the board with us, we thought it would cover the cost.
It was an unanticipated oversight, right?
Well, the longer we wait, the more it's going to cost.
Work with me, Mary.
The bottom line is, the longer we wait, the more it's going to cost. Talking with these contractors, and we turned around, you're talking at a time, okay, fuel prices were at this, now we're talking with their fuel prices of diesel is $5, but in plus. So it just keeps going up. You know, now you got to start all over again. You get a price, and then now say, wait a minute now, you know. So, and some will hold good to it, I hope. I just like to get it done and finished.
Here.
It's up to you as a board to consider it. I'm just saying.
So I'd just like to set a meeting with the finance committee and move it forward. Joe?
We have the
As
chair of the finance committee right here. What a coincidence.
Well, I think what you need to do is take an inventory, see what you actually do have left that needs to be funded to complete the work. Jack, I don't know where we stand with the public water in this building. We still cannot drink it.
Okay, that was going to come up, Joe.
Coming up on the agenda.
You are working on that. That's been something we've been working on for over a year. I mean, there are other outstanding issues here
Right.
that need to be addressed for the balance of the completion of this project. It can't be done piecemeal. It needs to be done total and aggregate with planning and understanding. Then bring it to the Finance Committee and we'll find a solution with the town.
We got a letter from the state that that water system is approved. I haven't heard back from Ward Water yet, but we did get a letter of approval. And so we stand with that, of course. Oh, on and on, just after a while.
I know it was here somewhere. So did they ever mention the grant that we got to on that, or?
There will be a grant on that, because you were involved in that when we were talking that water with that grant matching.
Okay.
May I interrupt? You've got to give some thought to this. Our town clerk texted that you need to consider having an interim meeting between now and, it appears, by the 29th of July, because you've got to write and publish the warrant for your special town meeting on the 5th for the reval vote 7 days prior to when it would occur. So you got to have a meeting between now and the 29th to accomplish that. As you're planning the future, I just wanted to throw that out there so you didn't overlook it and we end up in trouble with that date. Okay?
Okay.
So apparently she was watching.
She's awesome.
Okay, moving on. New business, reintroduction of the town Hollis ethics policy proposal. Mike?
Okay. Kyle, I'm going to just share my screen here, if that's okay with you. There is a handout from...
6 of them?
Yep, there's 6 of them there.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so this is something that before I was on the board, I think it was 2024, tried to do. 2024, we tried to do. It didn't move forward. It doesn't really matter the reasons why. I don't know the reasons why, but I thought it would be good to update this municipal code of ethics and also obviously update it for the new version of the town government, as well as the town manager and the 5-person select board. So what I did was I updated this. I had a couple people look at it and make sure that, it looked good in theory. Still needs to be something we'd probably need to get the town lawyer attorney to look at. But I wanted to give everybody here and the select board, who I did send this to yesterday, so hopefully you had a second to look at this, but I have a summary kind of what it says. So again, it's a 2026 revision of the 2024 attempt to place the Code of Ethics on the town of Hollis, for the town of Hollis. The 2026 version of the Code of Ethics takes into account the 5-person select board manager, town manager municipal style of government that was not in place in 2024. The select board is being asked to review and adopt the revised municipal code of ethics, not tonight, but I'm introducing it today or tonight, which applies to every member of every board, committee, commission, advisory, or decision-making body in our town. So it's not just the select board in any way, shape, or form. The revised code is adopted under the town's home rule authority, main constitution article 8, part 2, you can read the rest, and it's consistent of the state's conflict of interest statute 30M, and you can read the rest. What this code covers, it's a really brief overview, but standards of conduct. So impartiality, avoidance of conflicts of interest, disclosure, obligations, bias recusal, prohibited conduct like improper contracts, gifts, use of town property, representing third-party interests, soliciting future employment, things like that. Disclosure statements required of all officials within the 30 days of appointment and election. So disclosure as in, I am associated with this particular party, so I just want to make sure that I can divest myself of that. Not divest, but just disclose it, I should say. There's also a violations process, so written complaint, outside attorney review, select board hearing, and then a penalty up to removal based on, again, the main statute. Incorporation of main criminal statutes for bribery, improper gifts, misuse of information, enforceable by the AG and DA. Also, what is new in this section didn't exist before. I created section 20, which is the acknowledgement and receipt of the agreement. So the key addition to the revised code, it formalizes the requirement that every person serving on any body town body must sign an acknowledgement confirming that they have received, read, and agree to comply with the code. So who must sign? I kind of said this already, but all current members of any board, committee, commission, or any other advisory or decision-making body, and then also as they are elected, future members upon appointment or election. When they must sign, existing members, 30 days of adoption of this code, that's us. New and future members before participating in any meeting, deliberation, or vote, and no later than 5 days after appointment or election. So this is something our town clerk would, of course, kind of add to the onboarding paperwork, for lack of a better term. Annual renewal upon any materials amended to this code or reappointment or reelection. So anyone that was just reappointed or reelected would basically attest or sign this again. So again, where does it go? It goes to the town clerk. Its copies retained by the town manager. The town clerk will maintain as a list of a board committee public record under the Maine Freedom of Access Act, And then, so here's some consequences for noncompliance. Noncompliance does not excuse a member from the code. The town manager must report on noncompliance to the select board chair and/or applicable chair. For appointed officials, refusal to sign may constitute a cause for removal under 30A. And then the acknowledgement form, a signature is included at the end of the code document. Members must certify 4 things. Again, the receipt of the code, they have read it, they agree to comply, and they understand the penalty provisions. So printed name, board or committee, and then a signature and a date. So recommended first next steps for this would be the select board, of course, reviews this before the next meeting on August 5th and votes to adopt the revised code of ethics, obviously pending an attorney review and all that good stuff. The town manager would distribute the code of acknowledgement forms to all current board members and committee members, and the town clerk establishes a tracking log of some sort. Existing members have 30 days to return the signed forms, and the town manager incorporates that acknowledgement into the onboarding packet for all future appointees. Questions, comments?
Okay. So on the next select board meeting will be
August 5th.
moving to approve. So at that point, we'll be reviewing. Has all employees received this and all board members?
I don't think employees would be part of that. It would be appointed, or it'd be going back to the top here. We're talking about select board. It takes into any, oh, wait a minute. Where would it say that?
Board committee.
Every person serving on any town body, whether it be appointed or elected. So not town employees.
Okay, so we got.
Unless the town employee happens to be on an elected body or an appointed body. Then
Is there a reason for that? I would think this would apply to every employee that everybody that works here in the town.
it can certainly be amended to say that.
Right?
You have to give them opportunity to review.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That's my question.
Yeah.
We need to send it out for people to review?
Well, yeah, I think the next step is to get, well, let's definitely figure out if that's what we want to include town employees, if that's something we want to do. Maybe talk to the attorney about reviewing this and ask, is that proper for employees to be on this? And then we could certainly obviously get them.
Well, this is consistent with many other communities that I'm aware of, and it is. You're calling it a code of ethics. Some have called it a code of conduct.
Sure.
It's all the same, and it's saying this is how you're going to behave, and if you don't behave this way, these are grounds for some sort of action or reaction. That was after my. I was going to comment. I think this is a wonderful thing. I do think the attorney has to review it and give his blessing.
For sure.
It addresses 99.9% of what the state statute and local municipal ordinances already say, but that's all right. It brings it to the forefront so people are thinking about it as they conduct their daily business. And the last thing I had was, I think this should be all employees, committees, election, everybody should have a exposure to this and an opportunity to sign it or walk away.
All right.
That's my opinion, but you know, that's only worth 10 cents.
But the whole thing is, you've emailed it to us. I imagine you have a copy also.
Say that again.
You have a copy also.
I do now, and I have the emailed copy I
okay.
printed
So we
last
can
night.
forward it
I'll make sure
to-
it's out to everybody.
To everybody. Okay, perfect. Anything else on that, Mike?
Nope, unless there's any questions or comments, maybe from the public, if they have any.
Any comments? No, seeing none. Okay, very good. Town manager updates.
Oh, gosh. I don't dare to offer anything after all of this discussion tonight. This has been pretty rigorous. So you have copies. I gave you a clip together. I would like you to review what I have prepared. These are the beginning of the long series of policies, and I have had these done for a while. I've just been, shuffling the deck each time the priorities changed elsewise. But the first ones have been use of municipal facilities. The hot point is that I think I established, when we first moved to this building, a committee to review applicants and to kind of oversee that whole process. And it got pushed to the side, but I'd like to bring it back in the forefront. That's policy 3. Policy 9 is the town attorney. That was established when I first got here and has been adhered to as far as I can tell. Typically, the contact with the attorney travels through me, and that has been working well with the employees. Harassment, sexual harassment directed. Essentially, all of these I have just redirected instead of as it was prior to July of last year. I've just redirected the communication through the town manager's office and in my absence to the board, and 90% of these times that's what it says. Driveway culvert maintenance, item 13. I throw the responsibility on the shoulders of the expert. I like to delegate to the people who know what they're doing and do it well. So today, Rob, you're the guy. If this is accepted by the by the board. And then item 16, performance reviews. We'll get them in the files. They should be done annually, and any manager who does one here for their team, I will countersign and discuss with them before they go before the employee. And purchase orders, pardon me, number 21, that too was amended right after I got here. It's been amended a couple of times. I look to the signature of the treasurer to say there's funds available, and for anybody who comes to me with a purchase order, I say to them, is this a project that you have already prepared for and discussed? Is it something that just flew out of a bird's nest? And I get that answer, and if there's money available, I ask if it was budgeted, and that typically will prompt my signature or not. The important piece to remember for everybody in the public is the board is the body who can actually expend the money. So the signature on the purchase order is saying, yeah, it's good, but it has to come before you and should come to a meeting, and the board should vote on the approval of that, yea or nay, which you typically do as well. Those are the first ones off the chart. Second item we have is we're hiring a deputy tax collector, and treasurer. We've had 2 applicants at this point. We're still looking for more. That's not to indicate that the 2 are not worthy of consideration. I just think that I'd like to see a bigger pool. Bennett, did I understand you went to the news paper, the local press?
Yes,
Yep. So that's just happened, right?
just last.
All right, so that is.
You might want to say what you just said again, because no one
I said the ad for that has gone in the local press, so it should be out there for a week or so before, and generate a few more applicants, I hope. As well, if need be, we can talk to Indeed and a few other places and see what we've got for folks. Pardon me. Listen, I send you emails on occasion and I get very, very few responses, and I appreciate that in some respects, but if you could just give me a thumb up that you got it so I know that it's reaching you, because sometimes I wonder if somebody unplugged my computer when I wasn't looking. And I'm not looking for a respond all in any case, because I don't want to conduct a meeting online or inappropriately, but I send things to you for your consideration. And if you say you're full of hooey, all right, and I got 4 of you that say you're full of hooey, I'll believe you. If I get 1 or 2 of you, well, let's meet in the backyard and talk about that further. So I just want to make sure that it's not my computer that's malfunctioning, or if it's not getting to you, I need to know. If you've heard from me, just say, got it, and answer if you care to, or don't if you don't care to.
I appreciate your jovial approach to what you just said, but I think we need to answer you. I think it's appropriate for people to answer you. You are the town manager, and when we do not reply to your emails with specific asks of us, it's not only, it slows us down, it does not allow the town to move forward fast enough, and it needs to stop. We need to be more reactive as a town and get this man's emails answered, not reply all. I agree,
Right.
we don't want a meeting, but we need to answer this man. He is the town manager.
I didn't mean to make lightheartedness of it
You're being nice about it.
And minimize it. But I really do look for your response, and I'm doing that because I want to see if the path I'm going on is something that is, agreeable or not. And I don't always do things that you agree with, but that's okay. But I need to know it. And if I don't, I got to assume that I'm moving in the right direction, and nobody wants to waste that time. There's a couple weeks from now, only based on people on vacation and so forth, I'll be meeting with a planner developer to explore the third portion of the TIF funds, the economic development, and we'll take a look at what can be and may not be done with the funds that are there. And let me see what else have I got for you. Right? Oh, for people watching this, if your children come home and all they talk about is helicopters, you need to know that Central Maine Power was working on the power lines, and they used the space next to the salt shed as a landing spot and a takeoff spot for the workers. And those are for lines that can't be reached by vehicles, but it was amusing to stand out by the 35 and watch. Every time the helicopter came, all of the kids at the rec department ran to the edge of the lawn. And
they ran to the rotor blades.
They sure did. They sure did.
Good job.
Yep. And they had a big line and the tools on the end, and then they'd hook a guy to it too, and they take off, and off goes this guy hanging from the bottom of a helicopter. And he's got a little more courage than I've got, I'll tell you that. So if you're hearing that from your children, that was that. And yesterday, just for your information, we had a sprinkler test which passed, but it stressed our water supply. And overnight, it came back on full force and everything was fine. But we went for 4 to 5 hours with very little water trickling through the pipes. I think I got about everything you want to hear from me. Thank you.
Roger, can we make a point to review these policies by the next meeting and approve them?
Yes. Whoops. I mean, that's
You
what
want that to
that's
happen?
what I'd like to do.
That's what I'd like to do. If that's something that you'd be okay with, Roger.
Sorry about it. I didn't finish that
I
thought.
was
did I?
reading them earlier on the computer.
I was too. I'm not sure. I'm guessing there's a
Everybody
bunch of
have a
people here that
chance to
have
review
not.
these?
These policies?
Yeah,
No, this was the first time I've seen them.
okay. I was reading them in the emails, so,
So next meeting, right?
so
You think?
you want to wait till next meeting and approve them?
Yeah, I would think that we should let the board members that haven't read them
Well,
have
that's what I
time
was
to.
saying, just,
Yep, so
we'll
yeah,
approve
again,
them next meeting.
yeah,
Yeah, absolutely, and I'll have another batch for you at the next meeting.
Okay, perfect. Do that next meeting.
Okay? Okay.
All right. Moving on, appointments, Deputy Code Enforcement Officer, Deputy Building Inspector, Deputy Local Plumbing Inspector, Tracy Jakes. I hope I can pronounce that.
JSEC.
JSEC, I'm sorry. Okay.
I thought Dwayne might be here. Dwayne's not here.
Do you have any further information on Tracy?
I apologize. I thought Dwayne might be here for that discussion. He brought her name and phone number to me, and I know nothing more. Well, I do know that she is currently the code officer, I think, in Dayton.
Okay, so basically a backup code?
Backup.
Okay. Do I have a motion on that?
motion to approve Tracy Jasek as Deputy Code Enforcement Officer, Deputy Building Inspector, Deputy Local Plumbing Inspector.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Have multiple places to sign. Okay. It's payroll warrant and totals.
Danielle loves to.
No.
Yeah, she said, she whispered in my ear.
I don't like to
wanna
read
do
this
the
stuff.
payroll warrant
All
totals."
right.
Oh, it's probably going to be awful. All right, well, payroll last week was $51,762. Payroll this week, $47,677. The warrant last week was $594,708. Warrant this week was $59,279. I just say. I would say we have a PO for adventure climbing. Looks like for $2,500. And fire department testing for $6,635. Waterhouse Family Farm for $7,600. RMDL Incorporated for $10,000. RMDL Incorporated, is this the same thing? Another 10?
Same number.
It's a different number.
Same vendor.
Oh, okay. So another $10,000.
This is the description
Oh,
of what it is. So one's miscellaneous and this one's shoulder.
okay, yeah, so one's miscellaneous, one's shoulder ditch culvert repairs as needed. Another one for RMDL Incorporated for $6,000, installing road signs as needed. One for white signs for $6,000, road signs as needed. RMDL for $6,000, truck to haul as needed materials. Dearborn Brothers for $10,000, material for grading, dirt road, shoulder, and ditch repair. RMDL for $10,000 for grading dirt roads as needed. That's it. Do I say?
Is a statement that I need to read on that?
Oh.
Okay, from Faith, here's the latest communication from Inland Fisheries and Wildlife. Feel free to announce this at the select board meeting. Oh. Thank you for your continued patience as we work through the delay in receiving our ATV registration stickers. We want to provide you with an update. We expect to receive new stickers this week and we'll begin distributing to agents. That's why we've had a delay on being able to register your ATV. If you can do so online, that'd be great. But hopefully within a week or two, we'll start getting our stickers in, and you'll be able to do that here at Town Hall again. So just an update from them. So correspondence and announcements. Dan?
Sure. The Route 4A/Salmon Falls Bridge construction update. The road commissioner and the fire chief attended the main DOT pre-construction meeting for Salmon Falls Bridge replacement. The DOT plans to start improvements on 4A and Country Club Road within a month. March 1st, 2027 is the proposed start date and close of the Salmon Falls Bridge and the detour of traffic over Route 4A, with substantial completion and reopening stated for November 1st, 2027. Rob, do you want to say anything about any details on that? I know it's a big ticket item in town, especially with the Poland Springs trucks. Was anyone from Poland Springs there for that meeting too?
There was no one from Poland Springs, but the project rep was going to contact them about the steps moving forward, when they're going to be closing the roads and detour routes and everything to go along with that.
Did they say what preliminary work they're going to do between are they starting within a month here?
They're going to plan on doing all the 4A work this fall. This fall, to widen the road out a little to the right, to do the upgrade on Country Club Road, and to get that done. So that's all set, ready to go for the spring.
Okay, great.
What about where 4A hits 117? Will there be like a temporary traffic light?
There is going to be a temporary traffic light there, and there'll be a temporary traffic light at 112 and 4A in Buxton.
Good, because I know that intersection's just a nightmare. And
it's going to be a challenge. It really is. Everybody's patience will be tested, especially during the high volume traffic hours.
I'm just wondering, how are they going to make that swing at 112 and 4A?
They're sending the trucks to Hannaford, to 202, to turn right.
And then turn.
That is the route. Now, whether they follow that or not, no one can control.
Well, that's going to be.
It will be a work in progress.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Absolutely. Come right up.
So what will it look like at 4A? Are they ending up making a square turn? Or I know they're widening 4A, but is there going to be a stop before they turn?
Basically, they're taking Country Club Road and making it square to 4A, raising it up so there's a better sight distance.
Okay.
For Country Club Road.
There won't be a stop. It'll still be.
They're taking out the island.
Taking out the island.
And actually making a bigger island and separating Usher Mills Road and Country Club Road. Okay. So they come out two separate places.
Without that centerpiece.
Yes.
Okay. So they'll be better.
And they're not making the road straight, but they're cutting the bank on the right back if you're coming across the bridge, and going to try to widen it to the right. Now, I didn't look at all the details, but.
Is there any side shoulder that's going to be included in that?
That is, yeah.
Because their turns are going to be wide. The trucks' turns are very wide.
Right. What they're doing on 4A is for the trucks to be able to meet there and make that road a little wider on that.
I just know I ride my bike around that corner. And
it's going to be
It's only second to crossing Salmon Falls Bridge.
Right. I asked Julie Briss, the engineer that first contacted us, and there's 8,000 more cars a day or vehicles a day going to be detoured onto 4A.
Onto 4A, okay, thank you. The other question is, I'm very concerned about when the detour happens, that there's signage to
There is
stay.
a lot of signage, but it will be a work in progress.
Yeah, is there suggestions on keeping people off side roads? I mean, I'm thinking of the Salmon Falls Road. People I hear are already saying, oh, I'm just going to go on the Salmon Falls Road.
Yeah, they're going to block everybody off pretty much and make them turn left on the 35 at 202.
I hope there's a lot of signage, even lights or flashing lights.
There is. There is. And if they need more, they will put more up.
All right.
I have the project rep on speed dial now.
Great, thank you.
I'm sure I'm going to need it.
All right. Thank you, Rob.
All right.
All right, Jack, you talked about the water design approval. So we're all set with that.
Save the date. Hollis Community Days 2026 is Saturday, August 8th at the Debbie J. Teft Hollis Sports Complex, our biggest community celebration of the year. Kick off the day with a parade at 10 a.m., then stick around for live entertainment, kids' games, vendors, and information booths featuring delicious foods, local crafts, and community resources. Enjoy our huge raffle and silent auction, with all proceeds going directly to the Hollis Rec Summer Scholarship Program. Don't miss it.
Can I say something about that? Did anyone go yet last year? A lot of people went last year. It was fantastic last year. I mean, they did such a great job. The way that they kind of put the vendors around and the tents in the middle and the bands were underneath the tents, it was just awesome last year. And it was super crowded. I'm hoping to see even more this year. It was really, really cool. So kudos to the committee, kudos to Rec. So great. And I expect the same thing this year too. I'll see you there for sure.
I heard the committee's also still accepting donations to help fund it, business donations. If anyone wants to get their name on the sponsorship list, I believe there's still time.
Perfect. Other business. Anybody have any other business? Just one that I mentioned, I can't remember if I mentioned it last time. I've been talking with Joe, try to get another workshop between the select board and the finance committee to go over a certified public accountant that I've located that hopefully we can bring on board and start helping getting our town finances a little more in order. Upcoming town committee and board meetings. Conservation Commission meeting on Thursday, July 16th at 5:30 p.m. Planning Board meeting on Wednesday, July 22nd at 7 p.m. No Select Board meeting on July 29th, fifth Wednesday. Select Board meeting Wednesday, August 5th at 6 p.m. Okay, that moves us into public comment. Any other public comments? You see,
No, I was looking at. No, I was looking at Lynn. Lynn, did you see that the special town meeting got scheduled for the revote? Not good. Let us know if you want to say any final words about that, because that's pretty important. Okay, it's good stuff.
Kind of summarized all the things you went over too.
Yeah, it was pretty much
And
spot on.
don't forget, you've got to schedule one meeting between now and the 29th.
That's right.
I'll go real quick. Mine was just more on the competitive bid process and the town's requirement for competitive bids above $10,000. Again, in the politest way possible. You guys just read off 3 purchase orders for literally 1 penny below the threshold to require a bid. I don't know what accounts they came out of. I'll grab the POs at some point, but just again, polite reminder, $10,000 is your cutoff. You guys met it. You did nothing wrong. But from a transparency, accountability standpoint, you're 1 penny below where you need to be going out for bids. So appreciate you guys.
Most of that came out of highway.
Those are my working POs I use throughout the year to accomplish work. They're not for one project, they're for multiple projects. So that's just.
Can you speak into the mic? I just want to make sure, because I mean, we just want to make sure transparency happens here. So
no, these are my working POs that I use throughout the year. They're not for one project, they're for multiple projects throughout the year. The grading happens all year, the brush cutting happens all year. These allow me to function so I can do the work and respond when things happen. So that's basically what they are. Yeah, they're on the road.
And signs. Those kids are both White House kids. Shy Beaver.
Shy Beaver.
Okay, any other public comments? Seeing none, Jack?
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night, everyone. Thanks for watching.